With one main financial, within a week, I was able to really have that breath from the financial stress I had been under. Instead of
All right, and just like that, it is a Monday. Welcome in. It's the Kinner and Kev Show. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, and, of course, the old school dial, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome. Happy Monday.
Good Monday. What up, though?
I know, I did that wrong. It's Kev Nash. Welcome. What up, though? Happy Monday. That's how you do it. So, Kev Nash, no, I about did it again. You can tell we haven't done the show together. Like, it's been, the Reds have been, a little choppy. You've had these other responsibilities. People always say, I said this on Friday. Like, Kev, you don't have just taking all this PTO, just hanging out at home doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Busy guy, busy radio guy.
Yeah, radio is everlasting.
I'm trying to play TV all the time. Doing radio.
People that work in the radio industry, some of the guys down at Chatterbox have some radio experience. They know you just don't do one thing. You do like about 5 things to make a radio career. So that's what I was doing the last couple of days. But I do have some PTO coming up that I'm actually going to be taking off work and enjoying some time off work.
Salespeople are like, no.
Yeah, facts. That's why I get like a million emails since I told everybody I was going to be going on vacation in June. Just emails and, hey, can you come to this meeting? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? So I'm going to do it. Guess what? I'm not going to like it.
I wouldn't like it either. But we are off and rolling here on a Monday. We got a ton to dive into. Going to open up with some NBA talk. We'll get into what's trending coming up a little bit. The Reds have failed me. They have failed you. They have failed this show. They have failed everybody in the listening area. I am pissed off because it is May 20th. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife, by the way. The big 30. The big 30.
Happy.
So we celebrated her birthday over the weekend. Pissed off on my neighbors.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. But what else? Where was I going with this? I just wanted to make sure I got the happy birthday into my wife. We can all go home now.
Good
home
show.
But I want to open up with some NBA stuff. We'll get to the Reds. How they've disappointed absolutely everybody. Some NFL stuff too coming up. Our conversation we had with Bobby Carpenter last week. We have that coming up around the corner. So, well, let's kick it off. Kev Nash, I know you don't like talking NBA, but you have to tough it out. You have to tough it out as we sit here on a Monday. But for the 6th straight season, Kev, the NBA will crown a different champion for the 6th straight season. The only other time in league history with 6 different champions in a 6-season span, you have to go all the way back to 1974 through 1980.
Wow. Decades.
Now, I heard for the longest time that LeBron's super team era ruined basketball, ruined the NBA. I'm not watching that, and I don't like watching a season where I already know who's going to be the champion at the end. And although I disagreed with that, I couldn't disagree with that because, you kind of, although LeBron didn't win it every year, those Heat teams didn't win it every year, and those Warrior teams didn't win it every year.
50% of the time, the Heat won it.
Yes. So
2 out of 4 times.
It's like, it's one of those things where I get people's pushback on that. They didn't like the forming of the super teams and all of this stuff. But now they say, no, I want parity in the league. Well, there's so many moving things to why there's a decline in ratings for NBA. We've talked about that. There's other metrics to show that the league is doing just fine, right? Attendance, you talk about all the sellout streaks and everything going on.
Just there's more NBC.
There's more sellouts this past season than any other, season. It's kind of wild when it's all said and done. But for 6 straight seasons, we will have 6 different NBA champions. So now we have over more than a half a decade's worth of examples of opportunity for those who said, I didn't like the super team era, to ask you, are you coming back? Are you watching? Is this interesting to you? You had the Toronto Raptors win the title in 2019. In 2020, it was the bubble team. It was the bubble championship, of course, with the Lakers. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks win it in 21. You have the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry. Of course, all of this without, obviously Kevin Durant going all the way back in 22. The Denver Nuggets win their first title with Jokic last year. And then, of course, this year, 4 teams who are a little bit of a stranger to the championship scene. You have one team looking to win their first ever NBA championship. I'm excited about these Western and Eastern Conference finals, but overall, the idea that the super team era killed the NBA 6 straight years now where we're going to crown a new champion. It's a very interesting run for the NBA because there's star power galore.
Right.
There's parity in the league, but is this good for the league? I mean, that's what the counter question is. Now, you said you didn't like the super team era. This is the opposite of that. What say you?
I'm me on a personal note. I'm absolutely here for it, and I'll do you one better. This is the 5th straight season that the team that won the championship in the previous year has not gotten out the second round. So not only are the champions not making it further into the playoffs, they're not making it to the round that they got to. They're not even losing in the championship game. They're not even losing their conference championship game. They're getting ousted by up and coming teams. I'm here for it 100%. I think this is good for the league. As long as the star power remains, like the new star of the league is obviously Anthony Edwards. So people are tuning in to see what Anthony Edwards is all about because they know what Joker is about. He's a commodity. He's a 3-time MVP winner. They won the championship last year. So like people are invested in Joker and say, okay, he's legit. I'll watch him. He's legit. Oh, who's this other kid that they've been talking about? They say he's Jordan's kid. Let's see how much he got. Oh, okay. He had a terrible first half, and oh my goodness, he had 20 in the second half. Oh, that seems very quote unquote Jordan-esque to me. Like, okay, I'm in this. But then you look at the Eastern Conference Finals and everything that's going on there. You have a storied franchise that's always going to move the needle in the Boston Celtics, and then you have the up and coming Pacers, a high power offensive team. So I'm here for it 100%. My question is the same question that I asked when we were going through this whole conversation back during the college football season. Are we ready, really ready for parity in this sport? The only sport that we truly have tangible evidence that people love parity is football, in pro football. We talk about this in college basketball. Like, yeah, we love the upsets in rounds 1 and 2, but by the time we get to the Elite 8 and Final 4, we want these brand name teams. And the same thing goes for in college. I mean, we go back to when TCU beat Michigan in the semifinals and then got their doors blown off by Georgia in the actual championship game. Everybody was happy and hyped that TCU won and beat Michigan. Maybe that's just because we live in Ohio to see that team up north lose. Maybe that was just us. But then once that game was realized, like, wait, hold on, they're going to be playing for the national championship game. Didn't we watch the national championship game between Georgia and Ohio State on New Year's Eve when the beloved Buckeyes had their hearts broken at the stroke of midnight? Wasn't that really the national championship game? TCU, they shouldn't have been in there, even though they won their way in and people were just neglecting them and everything like that. So that's my biggest question to everybody out there. Is this really what you want, or do you really want more of the same?
And that's what bringing this up. When I saw that tweet come out that this is the 6th, I didn't even process that we were in the midst of that long. If you would have told me 4 straight years, I would have been blown away by that number. But yeah, after the Golden State Warriors going, winning so many, or even being there so many times in X amount of years, we're not even in a stretch of that anymore. I mean, we're very far removed from the Warriors dominating the final scene. I mean, we act like, I feel like that was recent, but I mean, that was years ago now. I mean, we're talking about, again, 6 different teams in 6 straight seasons. And it's not as if the teams that are left, we could see Denver return next year. Any of these 4 teams could get there. Boston's actually been the most consistent as far as being at this scene, as far as the Eastern Conference Finals are concerned. But they got to the finals last year, or not last year, the year before, I should say, against the Warriors. For the first time since
they lost to the Lakers.
So that was over a decade ago. So with that being said, we're in one of the most parity stricken stretches, if you will, for NBA in decades. As we talked about, 74 through 80 was the last time we saw 6 straight years of different NBA champions. So as Kev asked and I asked, is this what you want? Is this what you like? Because here's the other thing. I'm starting to look at Major League Baseball. They're in a similar stretch as well. I grew up, it was the Yankees.
Right.
It's all about the Yankees, the dominant dynasty that was the New York Yankees. There's no dynasty in baseball anymore.
Right.
We got a taste of it a little bit with the Houston Astros. Some of that got tainted a little bit, of course, with the trash can, with the sign stealing scandal. But right now you have, and some people couldn't even name the World Series champion from last year, but the Texas Rangers win it last year. Dusty Baker and the Astros win it the year before that. Then you got the Braves, then you got the Dodgers, then you got the Nationals, then you got the Red Sox, you got the Astros again, and then you got the Cubs. So really, no, technically there wasn't a dynasty run by Houston because there was, let's see, about 5 years separating their World Series titles. So that's an interesting run. You look at the NFL. The NFL, when people think parity, they always say, the NFL, that's the sport that's the best of all parity. Baseball has been the sport that's had the most parity over the last decade plus. There hasn't been any dynasties in baseball in over a decade.
Wow.
The NBA, this is the longest stretch in decades, as we've talked about, without a dynasty. And the NFL, the Chiefs have a dynasty right now, but you could say there's parity in the NFL, and there is, but this idea that it's the most the league that has the most parity. I don't think that's the case. I don't think the NFL does have the most parity. And the examples are Major League Baseball and the NBA right now. It's the Chiefs every year. It's Patrick Mahomes every year. Before that, it was Tom Brady, Bucs/Patriots every year. The NFL is sitting back laughing at all of us actually saying that, there's parity throughout the NFL. And although there is, I don't think it's the league that has the most parity. We're watching the NBA show that right now. Major League Baseball has been doing this for over a decade with no dynasties, and it's hard to have a dynasty in Major League Baseball, but we grew up watching it. So,
Right.
yeah, it is interesting. The sport that we think has the most parity actually has the least among the three major sports.
So when we talk about parity, are we saying there's only parity if you
Fair.
hoist the championship
Fair.
trophy? Because the opponents that Kansas City is taking out, they've before they were able to take out San Francisco this past season, the Bengals took them out, and everybody in this area is well aware of the dumpster fire that was the Cincinnati Bengals before they hit on Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and, spent money and free agency on that defense, to propel them into the Super Bowl versus the Rams. So, are we only saying it's parity if they win a championship? Because we can look at that run from the Golden State Warriors. They lost to the Toronto Raptors, but shoot, 2 years later, they were right back in the finals. They got that quote unquote bonus championship over the Celtics. So I don't necessarily think that your run ends if you don't win a championship. I mean, one of the biggest arguments I ever got into with my cousin, who's a huge Lakers fan, is he said that the Spurs never were a dynasty. The Spurs were never a dynasty. Nope. And I said, how can you say that? It's they never won back to back. So he viewed it as you're a dynasty if you go back to back. They always will win, take a year off, win, take a year off, and then win, 4 years off, and then win, get to the championship versus the Heat, lose, and then go win it again. So he viewed it as to be a dynasty, you got to go back to back. I was like, man, that's a tall task. I never viewed it like that. To the listening audience, how do you view a dynasty? And do you think that you have to win a championship in back-to-back seasons in order to be considered a dynasty?
So on the Chatterbox side, in the Chatterbox chat, where did that go? Oh, Scott Campbell. What up, Scott? He
Scotty.
says the Astros have reached the championship series 7 straight years. Sure, it's not a World Series title each time, but that is pretty strong. You go back to the 90s Braves.
Right.
They couldn't get over that hump, whatever. But you look how many times they've won that division and how many times, that considered a dynasty? I don't think so. But I mean, it was a very impressive run. I mean, you want to talk about, one of the best stretches in sports history there as far as dominating their whatever. So, but that's a good question too. I guess the reason I framed it this way is because people got tired of the same teams in the championship or winning the championships year in and year out.
Mm-hmm.
And now we don't have that anymore. So I'm basing it off of that. But at the same time, we've had this discussion before of what is the definition of a dynasty. And for me, it's like any team that especially wins 2 and 3 years, I think is in the midst of a dynasty type run. But the Patriots, I think they won back-to-back only once during that stretch with Tom Brady.
Did you watch the doc?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I've not watched the doc
it's
yet.
must watch. Not to derail this conversation, but Kraft spills all the beans. He lets everything go. And he blames Belichick for everything. So everybody,
really?
yeah.
Oh, so that's why they were talking about all the tension at the roast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I finally had a chance to watch it, but yeah, continue.
But no, with that, that was the Patriots, obviously a dynasty. It was a 2-decade-long run dynasty. It wasn't like they won 2 decades straight of championships, but every other year, or at least every other 2 years, they're in the Super Bowl during that Tom Brady era. The San Antonio Spurs, definitely a dynasty. In fact, the NBA had 2 dynasties kind of going at once when you had that Lakers.
And the Lakers.
And actually went of the 3 straight dynasties in the 2000s, it went Lakers, Spurs, Lakers again.
Right.
And then that went right into transition in the Heatles era. And then it kind of fizzled out to, then it handed it right off to the Golden State Warriors. So for about 2 straight decades, it was dynasty, 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 dynasty. I don't think we currently have a dynasty in the NBA right now.
No.
There's the skeleton of one in the Warriors, but it's not a dynasty.
Yeah, they're I believe that the Warriors dynasty are done. I think it's probably broken down into dynasty. You got to get multiple championships in a certain amount of window. A run is, hey man, we're in contention to win this. We're getting to our conference finals, we're getting to the finals, or we're getting to the Super Bowl, we're getting to our conference finals. I think a run and a dynasty are 2 totally different things. You can never have obviously a dynasty without hoisting the trophy. So the 90s Buffalo Bills, they had a run, but they never had a dynasty because they were never able to hoist the trophy. I mean, the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys Pistons Part 2 with Chauncey and Ben Wallace and those guys, they had a run. They got a championship, but they never had a dynasty because they never were able to capture that second one. The Celtics, Big Three, had a run. They were able to get a championship. They got back to the NBA Finals, but they never were able to capture that second one to say, look, we have a clear-cut dynasty. My question is, you brought up LeBron, D. Wade, and Bosh in that Heat run. Is that a run or is that a dynasty? So 4 years, you got 4 trips to the finals, 2 championships. Is that a dynasty or is that a run?
I look at LeBron's decade as he's the dynasty. I mean, he went to 9 straight finals between the Heat and the Cavs run.
Right.
I mean, 9 straight finals. And then, I'm not doing that thing that's on social media where, LeBron, it made it look easy, but because you have those LeBron accounts that are just trying to get in arguments with people. I'm not trying to, but they're not wrong. He got to the East. He got to the finals so dang much that
it was the LeBron Invitational.
We now teams get to the finals. We're like, give the coach a contract extension, get this player max extension. We're in for a run. LeBron got to the final. It was so boring seeing him get to the finals that it was, man, Jordan was 6 for 6, right? Because that's that bar. So it was no longer impressive getting to the finals because of how strong he got there. I look at him, and that was a dynasty run in his own. But yes, I looked at the Heat as a dynasty.
Fair.
I looked at the Heat as a dynasty. The Warriors, definitely a dynasty, even with the years that they didn't win in between those. And let me ask you this, though. You have the Warriors, 2 championships with Kevin Durant, 2 championships without Kevin Durant. Are those 2 separate dynasties? I mean, one was 6 years apart. The 2022 one, and then you had the 2008 or 17 one without Durant. There was 5 years between championships without Kevin Durant, I guess.
Wait for that documentary.
Yeah.
I think it's all culminating at one. There'll be a nice 3-part episode with the Kevin Durant years. There'll be like a two episodes prior to KD, 3 with KD, and then
5
2
for Draymond.
right.
Just for his antics alone.
Right. No, it'll be 2, the build up, the championship, and then the KD years will be 2 episodes, and then that last run will be 2 episodes. Yeah. So I think it's all one. I mean, look at all the things they had to do, and that's definitely a blip in the radar when it comes to the NBA. We're seeing that right now. We're seeing that, you can't have 2 of the highest paid players on your team to build a team. We're seeing that in real time right now. You look at Giannis and Dame, 2 of the highest paid players in basketball. What's their Achilles heel? We don't have anybody else around him outside of Middleton. If Middleton was healthy, then you would have somebody, but you don't, because Middleton's, he was hurt all the season, and by the time he got back healthy, Giannis got hurt, and then Dame got hurt. So, now he's out there by himself. And then you take a look at what's going on with the Suns. You got Booker, you got KD, you got Bradley Beal. What was their biggest thing? We don't have a point guard. We don't have a big man. Well, all your money spent there. Now you look at a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got Mike Conley, who's on the back nine of his career. They got the young and upcoming guy who hasn't even hit a second contract yet. You got a good player in Karl Anthony Towns. The highest paid player on that team is Rudy. But they got a whole bunch of parts around them, young assets that are good basketball players that haven't hit that. I think people are really going to start falling in love with the NBA again, because it's truly about team basketball. It's truly about, hey, man, you can have the best player, but what about all the others? Because at the end of the day, we can look at how great Jokic is. We can look at how good Murray played last night. And we can look how bad Anthony Edwards played in the first half, but he came to play in the second half. So him and Murray canceled each other out. To be real, Karl Anthony Towns and Joker canceled each other out. The others for the Timberwolves are the reason that they won. It was Naz Reid who pushed them over the edge.
That dude, you won't put him in that Dennis Rodman category because he's not a psychopath. But if you didn't know anything about Reid,
oh my God,
he plays like Dennis Rodman.
That putback.
I'm not
dunk.
joking. It was that dunk, but then he also assisted when it was tight, and there was a stretch where it's like, oh man, because Denver tied it up.
Yep.
But then Reid, after hitting a couple big shots, he dribbled in the lane. That defense just collapsed, and then he kicked it out, and then Ant knocks it down from the right wing. And I'm like, he assisted. He diving for loose balls, offensive putbacks, the dunk. At one point, because they do the stupid jerseys wrong now, They have the white jerseys. I thought they were in Minnesota for a bit because it got so loud in there on that.
I got confused as well. I was like, wait, hold on. I thought that Denver was the higher seed.
They got the white jerseys. Did they throw it out? I hate it.
It was crazy in there. The T-Wolves fans definitely came out and packed out there in Denver. And as I'm watching the game, so I placed a bet on a 3-leg parlay. I had the Pacers to win. I had the Mavs to win on Saturday night. So I'm hitting. And at one point in the third quarter, I'm good. I look at my app. This $5 was about to turn into $35. But they gave me the cash out option of like 20-some bucks. I was like, man, they're up 20. Baby. They're up 20 in the third quarter. We should be good. But by the end of the third quarter, they're only up 5. And then I went back to the cash out option. Not available. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. How did they know? How do they know? How do they always know?
Vegas always knows.
Goodness gracious.
Kidder and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio, 6 straight seasons where the NBA will crown a new champion. For those of you out there who said you hated the the era where you basically knew who the champion was going to be, which still wasn't technically accurate, but the super team era, right? There's no super teams in the NBA right now, and the rosters you would kind of label as super teams, they're nowhere to be found right now. So the question is this good for the NBA? 6 straight years where a new champion will be crowned, or maybe you guys were wrong about the dynasty era. Maybe you guys were wrong, of course, about the super team era. We'll take your calls when we come back. 937-518-1410. 6 straight years, a different NBA champion. Good or bad for the NBA? We'll talk about that with your calls. 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy, 66 tonight. Slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunshine, 90 tomorrow. And we'll see a chance of showers and thunderstorms, 85 on Wednesday. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
Did you know that looking at the world from a new perspective might make sense, but not when you're in your car? Make sure your vehicle's up to date, including your tires, so you don't end up looking at things upside down. Come see us at Carol Works Tire. Bald can be beautiful, but not when it comes to your tires. Low, or worse, no tread on your tires is dangerous and makes it harder for your vehicle to stop, leaving you prone to accidents. Come see us at Carol Works Tire.
It's Kubota Orange Days. Shop the year's best selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. And now through June 30th, get 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,300 off L3302 tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see a full line of Kubota construction equipment. Or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Due into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text REP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text REP to 321-321. That's REP to 321-321.
Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale is here. Save up to $500 on select adjustable bed sets like the all-new Temper Adapt collection. Plus, get a $300 instant gift for pillows and more.
Benjamin Chimera and Big Kev bring you Dayton's only local sports talk show dedicated to professional wrestling. Don't miss Cards Subject to Change. Every Thursday night at 6 p.m. right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on the iHeartRadio app.
And we are back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Look, that mic sounds way better.
Yeah.
There's no weird noise in the background that, we're just trained to listen to. I don't know what that means, but, whatever. It's fixed.
You have a trained ear, man.
Solutions, not problems. That is my motto, at least. So there you go. That's the solution for today. We'll see what happens. But we opened up today's show. Again, hope everybody had a great weekend. But we opened up today's show in a very weird way. Talking NBA, didn't once mention the 4 teams that are in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. But here we are. But the wild stat that caught my attention coming into the week was that for the 6th straight season, there will be a 6th different NBA champion crown. Now, you have the Dallas Mavericks, getting set to go up against the Timberwolves. So, and then in the Western and the Eastern Conference, you have the Celtics and Pacers as far as that's concerned. Now, the Celtics, they have not won a title since 2008. You have the Pacers, who have not won a title since 1973.
And that was the ABA, right?
Yes. And then you have the Timberwolves, who have never won a title.
Never made it to the finals.
And the Mavericks haven't won a title since 2011.
Dark.
So that's where we're at. This is fresh blood, if you will. Kind of the Celtics, I know, but the Celtics aren't a stranger to this level of the playoffs.
Right.
They seem like they're here, at least the Eastern Conference Finals, every other year.
Right.
They obviously were in the championship. They were in the finals a few years ago in 2022, when they lost to the Golden State Warriors, their first title since KD left, if you will. But nonetheless, here we are. So we were talking about, is this good for the NBA? Because everyone out there they hated the super team era, which if you go back and look at some of the dynasties throughout the history of the NBA, those were all super team rosters, in my opinion. I don't think you could find a dynasty in the NBA outside of the Spurs that didn't have a super roster, if you will. Now, that's Tony Parker was arguably one of the top 2 point guard in the NBA for a good stretch of time during his stretch. I mean, from his ability to shoot, the way he, ran the offense, it's just that boring Spurs style. So he never got that type of respect. But that really was probably the unsexiest roster, if you will, for all dynasties throughout the history of the league. And I could be missing one, but am I wrong in that? Most dynasties are super teams when you look at them.
Yeah, when we talk about rosters and popularity, I think that's all it really comes down to, your popularity as a player, and like, how do you sell sneakers? How do you do on endorsements? Are you doing State Farm? Are you doing hot dog commercials? Are you hawking this? Are you hawking that? I don't think anybody from that Spurs team had a lot of merchandise for sale. I mean, you go ahead and look at Tim Duncan. You go ahead and look at David Robinson. You look at Manu Ginobili. You look at Tony Parker. We could talk about all the things that they're not, but we can all say that they're all Hall of Famers. They're all going to be going to the Hall of Fame. They're all Hall of Famers, if not Hall of Famers already. So I do view that as a super team. Granted, it wasn't the super team in the iteration of this new era of player empowerment super team. They had Tim Duncan there because David Robinson got hurt for an entire season. When David Robinson was there, they were always a 1 or 2 seed out there in the West. He gets hurt for a season. They're the worst team in the NBA, so they're able to draft him. And then, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they drafted Tony Parker in the 2nd round. So, like, the accumulation of talent was done the quote-unquote old-fashioned way through the draft and everything like that.
Ken on Cap 1410 ESPN Radio. Here's the thing. I do like this stretch. I think this is a very important stretch of NBA for the NBA right now because fresh blood is being crowned. Like this year, whether it's Jason Tatum's going to win his first championship, Luka's going to win his first championship potentially. You're going to have Ant and Karl Anthony Towns potentially win their first championship ever. And then who am I missing? Oh, obviously Halliburton in the Pacers.
Obi.
And Obi Toppin, Dayton's own. Shout out to Obi. So, like, this is important because I've asked this before where you like to have those veteran-led teams, those developed superstars, the household names. The NBA is kind of leaving that a little bit now because now you're closer to, we're not closer. I mean, it's Steph Curry's almost done. LeBron's almost done. KD's almost done. And those are the guys that have carried the torch for a decade and a half now. So when those guys all retire, now who's left? Well, you have Jokic, who is a one-time NBA champion as far as a new star in the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo won it in 2021. I remember us talking about then. I was like, this is very important that he won that because you had the NBA had a stretch where outside of LeBron and Steph and KD and the veterans, they had all these young up-and-coming stars, but no one had a championship to show for it.
Right.
Well, Jokic has one as well as 3 MVPs now. Now I have Giannis Antetokounmpo with an MVP and an NBA ring, and I think an Finals MVP as well. So that's 2. You're about to add 3, to that list, which you're starting to develop now these stars who are going to take over. This is good for the NBA that you're going to have these young stars who have hardware now to go battle it out on the hardwood, as opposed to all the veterans leave. Then they have to carve their own niche in the title perspective. You're getting these guys carving their own niche title perspective wise with the veterans still playing. It's a good overlap if you're the NBA. Yeah,
for the teams that are still playing, I believe the Boston Celtics are in dire need to win this championship. Let's remove the fact that we're talking about, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like, let's remove that talking point. But simply, we can talk, them being here so many times as an organization and not getting over the hump, getting to the finals and not getting able to get a ring. But we got to start talking about the money aspect because Jaylen Brown is about to be the highest paid player in the NBA next season. So that means, hey, man, we might not be able to afford Porzingis. We might not be able to afford Drew Holiday. So all the other players that are elite level players, you're not going to be able to afford them. Then you're going to be out here looking like the Suns. And then guess what? After next season, you're going to have to pay Tatum. And Tatum's going to be the highest paid player in the NBA. It's going to be like $500 million. Like, that's how his contract is going to work. So, all the guys that are going to be coming into the NBA, they're going to be messing around with second-round picks because they're not going to have enough money to pay players. And then some of the provisions that are in the NBA now that, you can't have buyout contracts and things like that. You can buy out a contract, but you can't go to certain teams in the league. So the bylaws of the NBA are making it harder for these powerhouse teams with high-priced players to go ahead and say, hey, man, an older player on a team that's still pretty good is trying to latch on to whomever to try to win a championship. So they're making it harder for that to happen. So for the Boston Celtics, they got to cash in this year because next year, one piece is going to leave. And then the year after that, 2 pieces are going to leave. And then you're going to be out there with Tatum and Brown looking around like, I'm passing it to Kev. I'm passing it to Kenner.
See, this is where, if the last 6 years has taught us anything, this is where I don't know is Brown actually going to be signed to that. Now, he probably will be. But I'm thinking I would rather have Holiday, Porzingis, and a supporting crew.
Well, Jaylen Brown already signed.
But like the extension part, though, right? Was that his second contract?
Yeah, he signed. The extension kicks in. He already signed it.
So it kicked. Oh, so this is like when Burrow signed that last year. It's different. But Burrow gets that extension. But it didn't impact them last year.
Right.
It was really, starting moving forward. So, but that's the thing though. Like, do you do that? Do you invest so much money into two players like that?
I
You have
think
your
I think
superstar.
at their age, yes. But when you start looking at players at the age of Kevin Durant, I think you say no. Like once you start realizing, like,
yeah.
oh man, all these miles on their body, because like that's always like the biggest thing. Like, all right, right now it sounds good, but like when we're talking about year 4 and 5 and the numbers up into $50 million, like that's like the big talk with Dame. Like, wait a minute, yeah, he's good now, probably be good next year. But shoot, those last 2 years when we're paying him $55 million when he's like 38 years old, wait a minute, what is he going to look like? Like, is his knee going to explode again? Like, what's going to happen? And then you start doing the math on it, you're like, wait, Giannis isn't as young as he used to be either. Giannis is 28 years old already. So wait, at the back end, he's going to be 30 and Dame's going to be like 37. Like, how's that going to work? So with those guys, though, they're so young. But granted, we don't view them as young because they've been in the league forever and they've been making these runs, which seems like forever. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they're both like 26, 27.
Tatum's 26. Are they the same age, though?
I think
know
they're about
Tatum's
the same age.
I just saw Tatum's 26. I just don't know about Brett. But either way, within a year or two,
Yeah,
older, younger, whatever. But 518-1410, is this a good thing for the NBA? 6 straight years with 6 different NBA champions. The NFL is the parity league, right? That's what everybody says. But that's the sport that they have. I mean, they've had overlapping dynasties. They actually just had a dynasty handed off to the other. You had the Tom Brady dynasty that was the Patriots / Bucks, just basically handed off to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now you have a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good players. You have your Burrows and your Lamar Jacksons and your Josh Allens, and you have those guys. But again, there's only one that's winning championships, and that is Patrick Mahomes. And before that, it was Tom Brady. Well, the NBA for the longest time, I mean, in the 80s, it was the Celtics Lakers. In the 90s, that team, the Chicago Bulls, right? And then it goes into, you could make an argument the Spurs dynasty technically started in the late 90s.
99.
But, you have the Lakers and Spurs in the 2000s, right? And you go from there. So, and then, of course, you go into the 2010s as the Miami Heat, right into the Golden State Warriors. And now in this decade, in this era, it's the NBA has the parity. That's the league when you think of no parity. The NBA has the parity from a championship perspective. But as Kevin and I talked about a little bit ago, what's your definition of parity? Is it, NBA, is it championship parity or quality team / player, parity? The NBA has championship parity, at least right now. But
what do you like? Do you want, these super teams, or do you like it the way it is, that it's slowly but surely happening right now?
I think this is needed for the NBA because those new stars are being born. But at some point, even though you may not have wanted it in Denver, you need the reason the NBA has always flourished is because of those. Now, I hate the Spurs. I'm not watching. The ratings were just fine. Bad NBA Finals ratings at times with them, but there was that team you tuned in. Who's the team now you tune in to watch lose?
Nobody.
I don't. There's not a villain in the NBA right now. There's players you may not like.
The
but there's
team,
not that
that you're tuning in to watch lose wasn't good. Like the team that, at least from my friend group, that people wanted to see lose was the Suns, and that they didn't have to try very hard to lose because they weren't very good this year.
Yeah, and you have your typical, people that don't like LeBron / the
Right.
Lakers, and you root against them, but they're not the villain because they're the underdog.
Right.
Who's
and same thing
same
thing for the Knicks. I mean,
Yep.
the Knicks were a hot story. I mean, Stephen A. Orange and blue skies all season
what
long.
in the world?
And
You think I'm bad with the Browns? Holy moly! Like that was
and like clockwork, Coach Tibbs' team starts falling to pieces. Brunson breaks his hand. And once I found out he broke his hand, I was like, well, you can cancel Christmas. Like, this is over, dude. Like, they're not winning. I don't care how many points DiVincenzo scored. DiVincenzo dropped 40 yesterday. It still ain't matter. They still lost by double digits.
I feel bad for Tibbs, man. He's the Dusty Baker of the NBA. Dusty Baker, all he did was win. He won everywhere that he went, and people found a way to bury him. All right, they blamed him for everything. He's driving guys' arms into the ground. The Reds fans try to do that. The Cubs fans did that. The Giants fans did it. I didn't hear it so much with Houston, but he won the World Series. That's the thing. So Tibbs is the same way. He wins everywhere he goes. But the thing is, he drives players into the ground, right? But again, he wins, but at what cost? But 518-1410. Let's go to Jerry. Jerry, thanks for holding.
Jerry.
Gentlemen, Jerry, you there? Oh, it would help if I had.
Here.
There you are. It's a rookie mistake on my end. I didn't have the phone line, pulled up. So now we're off and rolling. Jerry, welcome. Thanks for holding.
Hey man, thanks a lot, guys. Hey, real quick, on my opinion is I liked it better when we had the super teams because either as a Laker fan I was either rooting for my super team or I was rooting against LeBron's teams or whoever, right?
Right.
So, and if you look at I got the statistics pulled up here. Now, mind you, there was a switch from NBC and TBS to ABC and ESPN, so the cable thing kind of messed with the ratings. But do you know that the highest ratings in the last 40 years were the Bulls with Jordan, the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, and the Heatles with LeBron and crew.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three periods in the last 40 years where NBA viewership was the highest.
I mean, it always makes sense. I mean, you look at the players that you're talking about.
Right. Oh, no, I get it. All-time greats, obviously. But I think when you have that team to root against or root for, right, I think it just brings more eyeballs to the thing. So that's in terms of viewership. Now, in terms of the quality of the product, I actually think the basketball is better now without the super teams, only because you don't have these games where you're going to roll, let's roll the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq out against, whoever the worst team in the league was back then. And you knew it'd be a 40-point blowout. But I have a question for Kev Nash, actually.
What's up?
So that was my opinion on that. Man, I want to know what you think Donovan Mitchell's going to look like in purple and gold next year, brother. Because we're coming after your boy, right? The call of the Lakers is going out to your boy Donovan Mitchell. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in purple and gold. I just got to say that. And if we get him, we're right back in the mix. If we don't get him, we'll get your boy Garland, one of the two. We're coming to raid your team.
Y'all can have Garland. Y'all can have Garland. Y'all can't have Donovan Mitchell. Y'all can't have Donovan Mitchell. That's a no starting point for me if I'm in charge of the Cavs. We can make something happen with Garland. We'll take back Reeves. I think that would be.
We'll give you Reeves and 3 first-round picks for Mitchell. That's
No. Mitchell's off limits. He's off limits, man. But you know what? And to be perfectly honest, man, like when haven't the Lakers got their man? Like the only time the Lakers have not gotten their guy in free agency is Chris Paul.
And the commissioner put the kibosh on that. We had that deal done.
Yeah, I mean, you dating back to the 70s where Kareem left Milwaukee to go to the Lakers. I mean, they made the Sun move to get Magic Johnson, even though they were like in the finals the year before. But somehow they ended up with the best college basketball player in a position of need for them. They were able to get Shaq. They made it happen and got Kobe Bryant. They were able to get, LeBron James. So 9 times out of 10, if they want somebody, they're going to get them. So, hey, man, I hope not.
Well, real quick, Jerry, so Kev said 9 times out of 10. Well, if this is the case, the 10th time, Dan Gilbert, this just came out about 20 minutes ago, Brian Windhorst, Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert is expected to be significantly more involved in basketball operation decisions moving forward. And then in the other report that just popped out on this one, Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert is also saying that under no circumstances will he be trading him to the Lakers. So there's that. So
well, but there's also him trading to another team who then trades him to the Lakers. I mean, there's more ways to skin a cat, Justin, and I've heard that.
No. You can talk about a cat from two. Hold on, you going to trade it to another team to trade him to the Lakers like that? That's quite the prediction, and there's rules against that. You have to wait like X amount of time. So that's quite a prediction. I'm
just saying, don't be surprised if he doesn't end up in purple and gold. That's all I'm going to say about that. And
I wouldn't be surprised because, I mean, I do remember Dan Gilbert, coming out saying that LeBron James would never play for the Cavs again. And, LeBron James played for the Cavs again.
Well, that was to help him get a championship. He's not going to help LeBron get another championship that's not in the Cavs jersey.
I would hope
Who's
not.
Who's Donovan's agent?
I don't know. Is it Clutch?
I think it's Mr. Rich Paul, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Let me Google that real quick.
I think it might be. The other thing, and one thing about
Garland,
the Cavs,
Garland is with Clutch.
Okay. Maybe I had those two mixed up. So I will say this, though, about your Cavs, though. My goodness, we saw what that team can do when someone lights a fire under Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they need to do to that young man, Kev, to get him to play to his potential. but oh my goodness, that kid looked like Kevin Garnett.
That's always been his comp. That's what they said that his ceiling could possibly be. It's just sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And I mean, I honestly think JB has done a good job getting this team to where they are. But I think him as their head coach, I think they've reached their maximum potential. I mean, people act like they expected the Cavs to, be hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. My expectations were the second round, and they made it to the second round. And I think that was a great season for the Cavs. But I do think like something needs to change. Obviously, the backcourt isn't working. I don't think you can have 2 6'2" guards out there trying to win a championship. So, if it's Garland that has to be on the move, he has to be on the move. And if we have to go ahead and make a head coaching change to, light some fire under somebody's butt, then so be it.
Right, I hear you, brother. I don't know. I think there is going to be a 6'2" guard from your team playing on the Lakers. I just don't think it'll be Garland. That's all.
We'll trade Garland for LeBron.
Enjoy Okoro.
Right. Yes. Gotta.
All right, you guys. Well, you guys have a great one, and I'll be looking forward to talking about the NFL schedule with you all. My team plays both your teams this year, so
nice.
There you go.
A win for the Browns and the Steelers. How about that?
Both of them in Vegas too. Yep, both of those games are in
Road
Vegas.
trip.
Indeed. Ooh.
You've already been to Vegas recently.
Yeah, I'll go back. Don't worry, I'll go back.
Steve Steller on Facebook says Lakers, even with Mitchell, don't win it as far as that goes. But no, I don't see. I mean, I shouldn't say I never see. It's the Lakers, of course, something can be done. But it's also, what do the Lakers have? What are they sending back to get them?
Reeves, I would think Reeves.
Not enough for me.
And Rui. Those are the only players out there. I mean, you're
with
not
a boatload of picks.
Yeah, and then picks. Obviously, you're obviously not trading LeBron. You're not trading AD. You only really got Reeves and Rui. Like, those are the only other parts on your team that are worth anything, and outside of picks.
Well,
I would do it for Garland, though. Obviously, I wouldn't do it for Mitchell.
Garland. Yeah, no doubt. For the Mitchell thing, that's a little bit different, but nonetheless, real quick. You know what? We don't have a lot of time. Let me kill this real quick. We don't have a lot of time, but I don't want to make this guy hold. We haven't heard from him in a while. Mikey.
Hello.
How are you?
How you guys doing?
Good. We don't have long, but I didn't want to make you wait during the break. So,
well, can I call back?
Oh, you have a lot on your mind, it sounds like.
Well, I got some bad news for you guys. I've been busy, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't called in a long time. First of all, when I was a kid, I wasn't real crazy about dynasties, but as I've gotten older, I began to appreciate them more. Like UCLA, when I was a baseball fan, the Yankees, and of course the Golden State Warriors. I really love the Golden State Warriors. But let me get to my bad news. You guys know that I put Coach Tom Blackburn's name before the Veterans Committee at Naismith, right? Remember me telling you that?
Yes.
Well, they have a rule at Naismith that if the individual does not get at least one vote in 3 years, they're dropped from the Veterans Committee's rolls. Well, Tom's name was dropped. Donaher's name, though, was added to the Veterans Committee. I was in contact with Coach Phil Martelli, and I talked to him twice on the phone. He seemed very eager to help. And then the second time I talked to him, at the end of our conversation, he said, Mike, have you talked to Coach Grant? Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. And I said, well, no, to be honest with you, Coach Martelli, I've gotten zero help or support from UD, which is the truth. Well, after that, I was never able to get through to Coach Martelli again.
Where is Coach Martelli? I know he's with Michigan, but with
Juwan Howard was given his walking papers, but something happened. Somebody said something. I don't know who or what. But after he asked me if I've talked to Coach Grant, I got nowhere anymore with Coach Martelli. I was also in contact with Jay Wright's office through a secretary. He seemed interested, but I got nowhere. I got nothing. So this coaches versus cancer thing. What better way? I mean, I want to ask you guys this: what better way to fight cancer in the battle against cancer than by honoring a great old coach who died of cancer?
Oh, I mean, look, in a lot of teams, especially over the last couple of years, because I think the NCAA changed it to where you could do a
fundraiser.
an exhibition, a fundraiser exhibition game, and it doesn't count towards the exhibition schedule, if you will, or what have you. So
UD and Ohio State played last year.
Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of teams do that. We just saw, like Kev said, I mean, Ohio State came to UD Arena to
I remember that
for that one. Coach Grant's charity, of course.
And I'm still shaking my head trying to figure out why in the hell Dayton got a bid to the NCAA tournament and Richmond didn't.
Oh, I mean, man, it has been a while since you've called in. I mean, that you're going back in the vault a little bit. Look, I mean, look, that Richmond and Dayton, obviously, finished at the top, or the Richmond finished in the top, the A-10, all that fun stuff. Look, Richmond was very, very good. I agree with you. Obviously, they got ousted in the NIT as well. But I mean, it feels weird having that kind of argument months later.
Right. I think, I mean, just
I wasn't able to
Duquesne.
call.
Blame Duquesne for winning it.
But I just, I'm really disgusted right now because I talked to I don't know how many coaches, and I got the door slammed in my face. I don't know how many times.
Well, how are you presenting it? Because a lot of times you call in and you do it in a
Blackburn
versus Danaher thing, as opposed to just
no. I never ran Danaher down.
Okay, because you've done that in the past, and I think if you have that approach, it's probably why you're getting that door shut in your face.
No, I never ran Danaher down. What I've told people. What I told Jay Wright's secretary, what I told Coach Martelli, and by the way, they know this. It wasn't Danaher that put UD on the college basketball map, although there's some people that want to lead you to think that. It was Blackburn that did that. And even Coach Martelli said the NIT was a big dance back in those days. And see, that's another thing that hurt Blackburn. He went to the NIT. But see, that's not fair to judge that because the NCAA was nothing compared to the NIT back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I never ran Danaher down. I'm not going to apologize for thinking he was never a great coach.
No. But did you bring Danaher up in that process? In the
process?
No.
No.
You're talking to Jay Wright. Did you bring that up?
No. Okay. I never.
Okay, fair. And that's fair to me.
I never ran him down because I didn't have to. But I did brag up Coach Blackburn's record. How in 17 years, he won 352 games, lost 141. He won 217 games his first 10 seasons. He had 10 20-win seasons. And so, and then plus he wound up winning the NIT championship. And so this is what I talked about. In fact, Jay Wright's secretary, I told her about all this. She even looked it up the next time I talked to her, and she said, I looked it up, and she said, everything you said was right.
Well, I mean, you're very knowledgeable. I mean, you call in with all the data, all the facts. You know your stuff and all that. You're very passionate about the opinion. Keep us updated as far as what comes of that, because I am kind of.
Well, the guy told me at Naismith. The guy called me back at Naismith. He said, once they're dropped from the rolls, he said you have to wait 5 years. And I told him, I said, I don't even know if I'm going to be here in 5 years. I'm going to be 71 in September. I don't take that for granted anymore, like I did when I was a kid.
70's a new 40, Mikey. You'll be fine.
Well, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing now. I'm trying to get old fighters into their state Hall of Fames, their state athletic Hall of Fames. I'm working on that right now. So that's my first love anyway, and my biggest love. So, well, anyway.
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, who you got, Mikey?
Pardon me?
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, who you got in the big fight?
Oh, I got Tyson.
Attaboy.
Yes.
Kev, what do you got?
And by the way, real quick before you let me go. It was Tyson Fury, as I heard, that pulled out of that fight/exhibition with Mike Tyson. And I think the reason why is because he was afraid that Tyson wasn't going to beat him. But if Tyson could have cut his eye, maybe knocked him down, people would have said, God, if Mike Tyson been in his prime, he would have beat him.
And Tyson Fury just lost over the weekend.
Oh, he did?
Yes, sir.
The Ukrainian?
Yep.
I kind of thought he was overrated.
Who, Tyson Fury?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He got dropped.
He would have been, if he had fought in the 70s against all those great guys, he would have been buried.
The reason he was so good, he's so great for boxing now, though, is he just brings that charisma and has that personality. He at least, it's kind of, you get the outside boxing community that kind of buys into it just because of his personality and everything. He's not that dull fighter.
Trust me, he never would have got anywhere. He never would have got anywhere in the 70s if he had been fighting then. He never would have been champion.
All right, Mikey, I appreciate your call. Good hearing from you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Always good when Mikey calls in. A character nonetheless. He's calling Phil Martelli. He's calling Jay Wright's office. He's having conversation with Jay Wrights. I'm like, good Lord. Anyways, Kinner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio. Sounds like the Connor Stallions investigation. There's some stuff that, we haven't heard what's coming out of that investigation yet, but Michigan State's AD had something to say about it. Central Michigan's AD had something to say about it.
You don't
So there's some people kind of sniffing around. So enjoy the championship celebration, but there's still stuff coming, Michigan. Just saying. It's Kinner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube.
People are going to want to see you fall when you get to the top.
3 stars, 1 season, changing history.
Cardoso for 3.
To plan these environments, this is what we work for. We fought so hard all season long.
You could not have scripted a better ending to this magical women's college season.
Kiki Rice, Camila Cardoso, and Caitlin Clark. ESPN Plus Original presents Full Court Press, presented by State Farm. Stream now on ESPN Plus.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-439-4252. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-439-4252. That's 800-439-4252. Again, 800-439-4252.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take control. Take back your quality of life today with help from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is helping people every day here and across the country. They're amazing non-surgical treatments that repair and restore damaged joint tissue. They use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your own body's healing agents and concentrating them in the right area where you have that agonizing pain. This incredible, non-invasive approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving the pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, and no downtime. Listen, summertime needs to be about having fun and making memories. Golfing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors. Take control now and start living pain-free again. Call now for your free consultation with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has the best fast food fried chicken. Sure, it sounds like an opinion till you hear that USA Today readers said the same thing. Get a taste of it with the Famous Favorites Variety Box, available at a great low price. With 5 hand-breaded strips and 5 pieces of crispy golden bone-in chicken, it's perfect for feeding your whole crew. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Your vehicle service needs matter to us. That's what we do. That's why Chevrolet of Troy offers the most convenient service experience in the area and the most competitive pricing. Plus, we're open Saturdays. Experience, satisfaction, and integrity. That's who we are. Chevrolet of Troy is the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. Our professionals will diagnose your vehicle quickly to get you back on the road. Now that's convenient. Chevrolet of Troy, 1375 South Market Street, and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Shop SummitRacing.com to keep your ride road trip ready. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends June 2nd, 2024.
Don't miss Kinner and Kev, weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. My, oh my, Kev, your Cleveland Guardians, a game and a half up in the Central, 30-17. They've won 3 straight, 6-4 in their last 10. They're looking down at the Royals, who are 29-19, 24-22. The Minnesota Twins. Tigers, they've cooled off. They're 23-23. They've lost 6 of their last, they've lost 6 of their last 10. The White Sox, 14-33. I mean, you might just end up winning the damn thing.
Please. So I saw something, a stat today about them. This has not been a banner year pitching wise for the Guardians, especially the starting pitcher. The bullpen's been pretty good, but starting pitching has not been. They are 10th in Major League Baseball in home runs, something that I never thought I'd see again from my Guardians at that level. I mean, they've hit more home runs than the Braves right now. So, like, obviously still early in the season, but, like, it's something to be commended. You know, I'm starting to feel myself a little bit. I mean, I also saw if they go 500 the rest of the year, they win like 85 games. So, like, obviously you're expecting to win more than 50% of the games remaining. So, you know, that 90 win mark is in grasp.
Yeah, again, you look at the Guardians, too, is known for their pitching. It hasn't been the best pitching year for them, but they're still plus 59 in run differential. You talked about the power numbers. You talked about their ability to score runs. That's really what's making them kind of exciting. And I'm wondering how much longer before Guardians fans really start to jump on, not to the bandwagon by any means, but like start to at least say, okay, we actually have something here. Because it's kind of like last year with the Reds fans expected them to lose 100 games last year. And then we get to June, it's like, holy crap, we're actually good. And then you get the opposite reaction so far for the Reds this year. We come into the season, we're talking playoffs, we're talking winning the division, we're talking about, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. What happens if we got high school football on Friday nights? What happens if I have to air high school football and Reds playoff games? What am I going to do? I looks like I'm not going to have to worry about that, Kev. The Cincinnati Reds, they're in last place. In fact, they are a game and a half behind the Cardinals for the second to last place spot in the Central. I mean, this is ridiculous. 19-28. They're 3-7 in their last 10. 8.5 games back in the division. -7 run differential. They can't score runs to save their lives. They're actually a very good pitching team, and they can't score runs. It's Ellie De La Cruz, and that is it. That is all they have. They're a one-man show.
Was that Friday where Ellie went crazy?
That would have been Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday when he had the 4 steals. Yeah, he had the 4 steals. He had a couple hits and scored a couple runs. Yeah, he was just unbelievable that night.
And then
that was Dodgers game 1.
And then yesterday he was 0 for 4, 0 for 5, right?
Yeah, I think the whole team was almost over. They another 1-run loss. I see people in the chat already bringing up David Bell. That is the one every old school baseball person I've talked to. You all can miss me with your analytics. I know we had Sam LeCure on. Elliot and I had a chance to catch up with Sam LeCure last week. I think it was a week ago today, actually. It seemed like forever ago. I wasn't big on burying David Bell by any means, but it's one of those, if you're losing a lot of games because your rotation's beat up and your guys in your lineup are beat up and you're weak at the back end of your bullpen. Their bullpen's solid. They actually have very good starting pitching. And they're losing these 1-run ball games. And that's on me. Every old school baseball person I've talked to, 1-run losses always go to the manager, always. And there's not an advanced analytical stat that you're going to use to convince me otherwise. Okay. If this team was getting blown out 7-2 every night, 6-1 every night, 8-3 every night. Okay, fine. That's just, okay. They don't have the pitching, and that's nothing David Bell could do about that. But when you are in these games, you're losing all of these 1-run games. That's a problem. That's on David Bell. I've not gone aggressive at David Bell because I think this team has a lot of issues that if you start to prioritize them and make a list of the issues this team has, I don't think manager's at the top. But he's moving his way up that list for me because of these one-run losses. What the one-run losses indicate to me is that, okay, you're in those games. This is the same team and fan base that a year ago in June when they got swept by the Atlanta Braves. They were all one-run losses, and everyone said, man, we are so competitive. We are in these games. That's how close we are to being the Atlanta Braves, right? Which is such a ridiculous take. But you can't think that way for that stretch and to totally ignore it for the 2-month stretch of baseball that we've seen the Reds play right now, where they have the most one-run losses in baseball. That means you're in these games. You're competitive. You have just enough firepower to be in these games. One decision by the manager is the result of these games more times than not. Every old school baseball head I've talked to said the same thing. Philip Reed just messaged into the show. He said 1-11 and 1-loss games. Bell has to go. Bell needs to go. I'm not there yet. All I'm saying is David Bell, he's starting to move up my list as far as being a concern, being a problem. Now, is there a manager out there? If Benavidez takes over, do these one-run losses disappear? I don't know. But you look at these 11 one-run losses. We're 8.5 back in the division. Okay. I'm starting to not care about the NL Central, but for a while they were within striking distance. Okay. And I'm not big on talking wild card at the end of May, but yet here we are. All right. But the Cincinnati Reds 5 games back to the wild card. You win 3-4 of those 11 games. Now you're still within striking distance. This number is only going to continue to build and build and build. One-run loss. We could talk about pitching, talk about how ability to score runs, put the bat on the ball. We could talk about all of that. The bottom line is 12 one-run games. You're 1-11 in those. That's on the manager more times than not. And that's old school baseball guys who've told me that my entire life.
I know this is something that you harped on going into the season about them being a very young team. A lot of these guys are, second-year players. How much does that have to deal with some of these one-run losses?
A good amount, which is why I wasn't bearing David Bell initially to start, because I also said anyone out there that thinks that, well, if we only had Matt McClain would be a second-year player as well. If you add up all the games of Matt McClain, he hasn't played a full Major League Baseball schedule yet. Spencer Steer has yet to play a full Major League Baseball schedule. Well, no, that's not true. He started the season last year. My apologies. Not Spencer Steer, but Christian Encarnacion Strand, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, all these guys got called up in the middle of last season. They haven't even played 162 games yet. And we saw a nice run from those guys last year, and we wanted this team to, mortgage the future to put a winner behind them. So that's what I want to talk about on the other side when we come back. I'm actually going to praise the Reds front office staff. It was actually smart of them to not go all in the offseason. Imagine spending millions of dollars to go all in to complement the likes of Ellie and Spencer and Matt McClain and Christian Encarnacion Strand, to complement the Jonathan Indian and Tyler Stevenson, to complement all of these guys, just to find out that there is no Christian Encarnacion Strand, there is no Matt McClain, there is no, Marte, there is no any of these guys. Like, this is what we talked about with Hal McCoy last year. Can't get caught up in the excitement from the first season with these young guys, because we now know guys take a step back and we have to find out who they are coming out of these slumps. We don't know who they are yet. Let's talk about that when we come back. Kenner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio. Got an update on Justin Jefferson. The reason that's important is as Justin Jefferson goes, Jamar Chase goes. Bengals fans, pay close attention to the ongoing contract negotiations between the Vikings and Justin Jefferson. We have that around the corner. What else? Connor Stallions. We have a story on that as well.
Oh, boy.
Got a lot coming your way. Kenner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio.
A little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu.
My favorite thing is the last bite. The last bite is nice and juicy, and it's wrapped up in some crispy breading that keeps it nice and tasty. And being able to scoop up my Chick-fil-A sauce with it, it's just like the best part of the meal. It's an undefeated combo.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
2 guys drove to work. Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
Cordell Transportation has more advantages than ever before, including brand new equipment. That's right, plus excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply now at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
We can all take simple actions to reduce air pollution in the air we share. Here are some easy ways to help. Reduce air pollution by taking public transportation, carpooling when possible, and biking or walking for short trips. Every choice can make a difference, and each action you take adds up to cleaner air. Learn more at miamivalley.air.org or call 937-223-6323.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh. We told you.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Save big this Memorial Day at Lowe's. Right now, save on 1.5-gallon annual hanging baskets. Get 2 for just $16. Plus, buy one, get one 50% off. Select interior and exterior paint and exterior stain via Lowe's gift card rebate. Shop these deals before they're gone because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 5/29. Hanging baskets in-store only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Paint. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. While supplies last.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Visit us at Hollywood Gaming Dayton this spring for the playoff action and the return of baseball. We've got the biggest screens, the best food and drinks, plus we're giving away Penn bonus play and prizes to Penn Play Rewards members. Not a member? Join by downloading and registering for the Penn Play app from the App Store. Unlock the fun, including a chance to win up to $2,000 in Penn cash. Make Hollywood Gaming Dayton your spring sports viewing headquarters. Must be in the state of Ohio to wager and over 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 or visit org.ohio.gov for help.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Due to recent demand, our office is now issuing boat registrations for your convenience. This new service will be available at our downtown Dayton auto title location. We can help with new boats, renewals, and also ownership changes. Go to weregisterboats.com for more info.
Old English Outfitters, 50 years keeping you outdoors and on target. Check out the specials page on their website for exclusive deals. Old English Outfitters, 480 Ginghamsburg Road, Tip City, Ohio.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here, 1410 ESPN Radio. 6 straight years where the NBA will crown a 6th different NBA champion. Of course, you have the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals, you do not have the New York Knicks. You do have the Indiana Pacers, and you do have the Boston Celtics. And we've talked about for a lot of these teams, the Timberwolves never winning an NBA championship. The Pacers haven't winning a title since the 70s. You have the Mavericks who haven't won a title since 2011. And then who's the other team that I'm missing right here? So we talked about the Pacers. I talked about the Timberwolves. Talked about the Mavericks. Which one am I missing?
Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics. Yeah, they've won a title.
Yeah,
they've won a couple. 2008, their last NBA championship. Geez, the easiest one of them all, and I forget that one. But of course, we opened up the show talking a lot about, is that good for the NBA? Are dynasties good? When you think of parity, you think of the NFL. But when you think of the NFL, it's actually, from a championship perspective, it's not very diverse as far as that's concerned. When you look at the championships, all right, you have so many dynasties. The NBA, 6 straight years with new champions. Major League Baseball, they haven't had a team win back-to-back World Series in decades. I mean, it's been a while. So with that being said, it's kind of wild that the NBA is the face of of that. So it's kind of interesting nonetheless. So off and rolling here on a Monday. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Off and rolling. So we're talking about Cincinnati Reds baseball a little bit ago. So many people were frustrated and upset that the Cincinnati Reds didn't go all in this past offseason. And there was a part of me that was a little hesitant. There was a part of me that was a little that was like not really willing to go all in, to say, yes, that they have to go all in, that they need to go spend money, that they need to load up this roster. Because the idea that they needed to load up the roster because of the emergence of a Matt McClain and an Ellie De La Cruz and a Spencer Steer and a Christian Encarnacion Strand and Noelvi Marte, and the list goes on and on. Okay, yeah, you go all in, you put all those pieces around them, but then what I would have feared is what's happening. You spend all this money to put pieces around those guys, but you only did that because those guys emerged, but they've all done it in less than a full baseball season, and that's putting the horse before the cart a little bit. The Reds had to adapt and change a tad, but they couldn't veer away from what the big picture plan was. They weren't supposed to be good last year. They were supposed to be a 100-loss team. In 2024, they weren't supposed to be a team that had expectations to win the division. They were kind of a year ahead of schedule last year. Of course, now you look at this team, and they look right on about what they were supposed to be last year, which was bad. But the bottom line is for those out there, why didn't they make moves at the deadline last year? Why didn't they make moves in the offseason? You wanted them to mortgage the future. You wanted them to get rid of draft picks because you thought, well, we're set. We don't need to go get, Hamir Candelario. We have a full infield. Do we? That's the thing. Matt McClain, if he was back, they'd be better. Or he would be just like all the other second-year players who can't seem to figure it out outside of Ellie De La Cruz. And I like Matt McClain. I'm a big Spencer Steer fan. All right, I like Christian Encarnacion Strand, but these guys don't look like the same guys that they were last year, outside of Ellie, of course. But Ellie's a different kind of breed, man. He's a superstar, right? Like, it's a different conversation with him. All I'm saying is had the Reds this season lived up to expectations, had they currently been in first place, they're hitting the snot out of the ball, they're pitching really well, now we could start talking about, okay, now I feel pretty confident about moving on for some prospects. Now I feel pretty good about going to get a mega star to put in the outfield, or to go get another, bona fide arm to put in this rotation. Right now, the Reds are saying, thank God we held on to all these prospects, because Jonathan India may not be an everyday player like we thought. Tyler Stevenson, who has actually coming off his best stretch of baseball this season, he's actually been one of the more consistent hitters, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to see him kind of doing that. But we don't know anything about Spencer Steer at this point, who at the beginning was the most consistent hitter. He has not looked like that. Christian Encarnacion Strand, I thought looked like he had signs of being like a poor man's Albert Pujols. I mean, he just had this big, gigantic look to him. He had a ton of power early on when he debuted with the Reds last season, and he's so inconsistent. He does not look good. So, there's a lot wrong with this ball club right now. And I think when you start prioritizing all the issues with the team, I don't think David Bell's at the top of the list. And I also don't think that the Reds not spending money in the offseason is at the top of that list either. Them spending money doesn't make those guys better. And those guys being good is what makes you spend money. We have to know that they're actually that good. And I don't think if we know that yet.
It's the chicken or egg.
Yes, that's the thing. I'm not defending the Reds, but I kind of am. I think they made the right choice to sit back and see. And unfortunately, it's not what we anticipated. In last place, man. Last place.
Yeah, definitely not what we were expecting. What you're talking about kind of reminds me of the sport that I follow more closely than baseball, which is basketball. It reminds me of the 2019 Portland Trailblazers. That team made it to the Western Conference Finals. That was
the Melo team, right?
No, that was the team before Melo.
Okay,
this was Dame. This was McCollum, obviously, and a bunch of, for lack of a better words, Jags. But they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. That was the year Dame hit the step back, wave bye-bye and all that type of stuff. They made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. They got swept by Golden State. And Portland did something silly. They signed all those Jags to big contracts, which handcuffed them. And then those Jags started to play like Jags as opposed to above their head. And then they ultimately had to tear it down. And then I'm thinking about the team that the Hawks took to the Eastern Conference Finals like 2 years ago. You see where they are now because they ultimately paid the John Collins of the world money, and now they're trying to ship these parts out because, all right, that was, for lack of a better word, a fluke. So for when teams don't make those type of moves, I understand, and their top management is believing like, oh, this is a fluke type of situation. But from a fan's perspective, they're thinking like, you don't trust in what you guys have. If we had player X, if we had player Y, they would be able to take us over the hump. My problem is paying Jags. I don't mind paying guys that are proven commodities, but I do mind paying Jags a lot of money because, especially in a sport like basketball or football, where you have the salary cap and you handcuff yourself. But I mean, even speaking from baseball perspective, with smaller market teams like the Reds and the Guardians, if you pay this big money, then you handcuff yourself. I mean, the big thing that's going on in Cleveland right now is that Frankie Lindor plays for the Mets. They're playing in Cleveland tonight. What's going to be the reaction to the fans? Are the fans going to cheer? The fans going to boo? Frankie ended up going to the Mets for a whole bunch of money, and money that, part of that money, which they use to link up Hosey long term. It's looking like Hosey is a better player long term than Frankie. I can be the first one to say I was like, man, just pay them both. Like, find the money and pay them both. Like, they're the core to our team. Like, they were just in the World Series. Like, they were out away from winning the World Series. Let's run it back. But sometimes those guys in higher management know better than the fans.
Kenner and Cav, 1410 ESPN Radio. The Reds are off today. Okay, they're off today. But
little breather. Little breather.
Lindor's return to Cleveland, of course. Boo or cheer?
Boo. He don't play for us.
Here we go.
He does not play for us. Boo.
You are consistent. And so am I. You are consistent. No. But yes, this Reds thing, we'll talk more Reds on tomorrow's show, but I wanted to touch on that quick. Step away for a few moments. When we come back, a little update on the Connor Stallions investigation. As an article on Bucknuts today that was kind of highlighting some of that. It's wild. I think that's been, everyone's kind of forgot about that. There were so many scandals with Michigan that we forgot about. Probably the most wild one of them all.
True.
A coach standing on another Division I team's sideline, scouting the opponent of a future Michigan team. Like, it doesn't, like, that's not talked about enough. It's wild to me. It really is. Also, Justin Jefferson, an update on him. Anything that's an update on Justin Jefferson, Bengals fans pay attention because that's your future and your negotiations with, of course, Jamar Chase. Nonetheless, we'll be right back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy, 66 tonight. Slight chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunshine, 90 tomorrow. And we'll see a